welcome to The Underground, the official podcast partner of Glee 2025. I'm Phil Wright, and together with my co-host Kate Turner, we took our podcast booth to the Glee show in Birmingham to capture a snapshot of the industry and take the pulse of what's going on in the garden sector right now. As well as recording 20 interviews, Kate and I ventured out of our recording booth to gain some insights from exhibitors on the show floor. In this episode, we get two contrasting perspectives on the garden centre business, both big and small. First, we'll hear from Amy and Libby Stubbs from British Garden Centres, a group that now comprises over 70 garden centres. And we also speak with the Rev Dave Walker, who, along with his son, purchased Birley Moor Garden Centre in Sheffield last year. I'm absolutely delighted to say that we are joined by Amy and Libby Stubbs from British Garden Centres. Welcome, both of you.
Hello. Hello.
So, welcome both of you, as I say. And before we get talking about the future of the garden centres, perhaps we should look at British Garden Centres and how the rapid growth that you've been through fairly recently. Tell me what the journey's been like from your perspectives.
So it's been pretty crazy, to be honest, but absolutely loved every single minute of it. I think it's definitely made it very exciting and forced both of us to be thrown in the deep end, but in a way that's made us learn so much as well.
Right.
And I think the bit that's been best about it is that the whole team has really got on board with it and embraced it, and it's just made things a lot easier for us as well.
Brilliant.
How does it feel to be representing the story of British Garden Centres at Glee this year?
I think it's amazing that we've even been presented with this opportunity. As an industry, we're just so glad to be celebrating its success.
Yeah.
So, Amy, you just recently been made the Managing Director of British Garden Centre, so congratulations on that new role. Was leadership always something that you aspired to? I know it's a family business, but was it always something that you thought you were going to aim for?
Yeah, definitely. I think all through my childhood, I'd really enjoyed being a leader, and I've always been quite a bossy boots. And I think I knew that I wanted to climb the career ladder. I wanted to succeed well, and I think that's all fallen into this leadership. So.
Right, fantastic.
Looks like you've got where you wanted to be.
And has she always been a bossy boots?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So can I just ask a really simple question? You're both sisters, not cousins, that you are
Yes, sisters.
And it's been a family business for how long?
35 years. So we celebrate 35 years this year. So,
right, goodness me. Oh, brilliant. So, Amy, we've talked about how well you're doing. So, Libby, younger sister, would I be right?
Yes. So,
but you're also involved at a high level. What's made each of you want to be part of this industry, especially when so many garden centres are struggling to kind of pass on that baton and keep it within the family?
I think it's such a friendly industry that if you ever need help with anything, you can literally go to anyone. Growing up, I've always known that if I ever have a question, I can ask anybody and they'll always be willing to help. So that drove us in, and just trying to get the younger generation into the business. Just passion to carry on the garden centre industry through the years.
Just if you don't mind, just leading on from that, is it always something you've wanted to be involved in? Did you ever, when you were younger, think, I don't want anything to do with the garden centre? Have you come back from doing something else, or it's always been in your blood?
So I did sidetrack off for a little bit and want to be an architect to just fulfil my creative dreams.
Well, that sounds familiar.
Phil did an architect degree.
Oh, really? But I think just as I grew up, seeing Amy thrive and she's just always been my inspiration, really. Seeing her do so well, I was like, no, that's what I want to do. I want to be in that too. So, it's just been the inspiration of my family around me.
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
Oh, that's brilliant. So do you see that your generation bringing something different to the business, do you think? So maybe new ideas or new ways of working?
I think we do, don't we?
Yeah, I think we're always wanting to bring new innovation while still focusing on our core values that in our case, our dad's brought in and built this successful business off.
Yeah.
So we've always wanted to do that, but whilst again still bringing in the younger generation and doing that through innovation.
Okay. And how does that manifest itself? What sort of things are you bringing into the business, do you feel that you're...
I think some of the things are like technological changes.
Okay. Right.
So I think, looking at apps and marketing campaigns that kind of a lot more technological driven. I think also then bringing in some more processes and efficiencies. I think, we've been built on a business that's been used to being quite a small run. We very much act in a way as independents because we like to empower our centres. But with that, we need to bring in some process. And I think that's probably the element that we've been able to bring in.
Yeah. I mean, British garden centres are really embracing social media, see it a lot, which is great. And I can see that being something which a lot of the other garden centres aren't doing in quite the same way that you guys are doing.
Yeah, we're quite unique in that way because every centre has their own Facebook and her own Instagram page. Okay. And we do that because we want that centre to showcase its individuality, which, I think it's on an ever-growing mission, as there is with kind of everything. There's somebody that's, amazing at it, and there's people that need some support, but that's where we've got such a good team that kind of work on that.
How many centres are there?
73.
73? Didn't realise it was that big. Goodness me.
I mean, we talked to you about, I'm just going to jump back a little bit, but we talked to you about becoming the managing director. How daunting was that? I mean, was that just exciting, or do you feel the weight of that on your shoulders?
A little bit, but I think I was really excited because I've been part of the senior team for quite a while now, and kind of really working alongside them, and I was excited to be given that opportunity. Of course, it was a huge privilege, and I feel like a huge weight on my shoulders, but I also know that there's a huge team around me that will support in that role. So more excited than anything.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Do you think, I'm just going to butt in a bit, do you think that's a question that you wouldn't ask Amy if Amy was, say, Andrew? I just find it interesting. Have you found it, for both of you, more challenging being younger women in a predominantly kind of older male industry? Or is it just something you just get on with it,
I think there's definitely part of it that... it's, I absolutely champion all the women in the horticulture industry, and I'm really glad that I think I've probably come in at a time where more and more women are involved, and therefore it's not so unfamiliar with everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't being being rude at all. Just recently we had the horticultural power list, and you were on that, if I'm right. But I did notice there was a much smaller amount of women because there are less women in the industry. Yeah. But it's so good and so inspiring to see two young women taking on these roles. But I'd like to get to a place where we don't have to ask you, how does it feel, to be a young woman in this role, because there'll be lots more people.
Yeah, no, I think the question, that's all right, but I think the question actually came from more of an age thing rather than a gender thing, because, it's a big step.
Oh, it is, definitely. And I think age is always a difficult one, and I appreciate I'm very young, and that's why I feel so honoured to be given the opportunity. But equally, we've got to bring the next generation through, and people have got to be given the chance to do that. And I think as long as you've got good people around you who, if you do make mistakes, because people do that, you can work them out together.
So still sticking on the female kind of line, you're both sisters and you're co-leaders. How does that work on a day-to-day basis? Do you kind of rub against each other, or do you just thrive off each other?
I think we just thrive, and we were talking about this on the way here, and there isn't really a secret to it. I think we get on so well, and we always look out for each other. We've never really had an argument, and I think we're just honest with each other, and I think that's all that kind of it just seems to work like that. So
I think it's great. It's so inspiring and uplifting to hear that. It's wonderful.
Yeah. So, Libby, a question for you then. Yep. Are there particular strengths or approaches that each of you bring that complement each other, or maybe one of you's is much better at one thing than another? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think growing up, it's always been quite known that I have a more creative side than Amy, and she's got a more chatty side than me. And I think them two things working together mean that I can come up with ideas, and then Amy helps execute them because she's got that strive that I've not always got because I'm not so confident. But I think then as we're working together, we're also rubbing off on each other. So it's nice that I think we're both helping each other pick up other things that we didn't have before.
Yeah, that's great. I like that.
And do you ever get a chance to switch off from garden retail, or is it all you ever talk about?
Well, I do think it's something that we are always in because we've grown up in it. But I think if we did switch off, it would feel weird. I think it's something that we're so used to now. Although we do on a Sunday night love a game of Uno, and that's a good switch off. Very competition based, and we are all very much wanting to win always. But it's a good switch off for us.
Well, it's a passion, isn't it, as well? You've obviously both really passionate about what you do. It's not like you're an electrical appliance industry or something. Gardening is such a passion for people, and there's just such an emotive business as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think our dad always says that he feels like he's never worked a day in his life because, doing this job is just his hobby. And I think both of us do feel like it is part of our life and it isn't just a job. So therefore, it doesn't need to be that clear divide, does it?
No. And I also think it's such a wide industry in the fact that there's so many different aspects that it's not just plants and it's not just about that. So there's so many places that you can fit in. Yeah, cakes, Christmas baubles, anything really.
Well, just walking around here, there's so much, isn't there? Goodness me. Yeah.
Brilliant. So you're talking at Glee, which is going to be focused on innovation.
Yeah.
What does innovation look like to you in the context of garden retail? You mentioned some technology things. Are there specific things that you're going to be talking about in your talk at Glee?
So I think there's a couple of aspects that we're definitely looking at, and there's probably changes that we've put in place that probably can be seen as innovative. But I think probably the important thing for us as a business is that we're never afraid to change. We're never afraid to adapt. And I think although at one point something can seem innovative, like the next moment it could not, or it's not going to work. And I think the importance to not be afraid to try things, give things a go, and then also actually give honest feedback and honest analysis on it is really important to then being able to deliver these things if we do. But, we really want to put an app in place. We've done quite a lot with our customer loyalty. We are looking at the ways that checkouts can be slicker and more streamlined. I think it all links back to how do we operate a business that's more profitable in climates that are challenging when wages are going up and utility costs are going up, and how I think that's what's forcing us to be innovative.
Yeah. Interesting you mentioned there about loyalty. We've spoken to a few people just recently, and basically I think there's a general feeling that actually the garden industry, the garden centres, could do an awful lot more around loyalty and customer loyalty. I think there are other retailers that are doing much better. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think as an industry, we've made some really good steps, and I think there's some amazing examples out there. I personally think, there's other companies within the industry we can learn a lot of. But then also then you do look at, the supermarket industry, other big retailers, and how loyalty, you take Tesco and the Club Card and how that has literally become, the backbone of their business. I think there's so much opportunity.
Yeah.
So are there areas where you think the garden retail industry needs to just kind of evolve a lot more quickly than it is now?
I think there's arguments for both sides. There's always going to be a customer that wants the fast checkout and the self-checkouts. But I think for us, through COVID, we recognised that so many of our customers value the face-to-face and speaking to our team on the tills. They build relationships because they're in every Sunday, getting their plants, getting their cake, and they want to see them people every day. So I think that was something we noticed over COVID, that people missed that. Yeah. So there is a side to both, that there's people that want the quick side, but then there's also the people that want to see people. Yeah.
I'm going to go off piece a little bit. I'm interested in the values that British Garden Centres has. Now, I know that you guys get involved as a business with things like Garden Relief Day for Green Fingers charity, and recently we were doing some filming at the dragon boat racing, and you guys entered 2 teams.
Yeah.
From different places in the country. You know, they came and took part, and it's all about raising funds for the charity. But I see that as being sort of set from above. You know, that sort of value set of being community based, wanting to do the right thing. Is that am I right in?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think we're a large garden centre business, but the bit that makes us unique is that we want every centre to feel like their local garden centre in that area, which then forces us to work with the local communities and really build that local community feel. It also kind of encourages our teams on the ground to feel ownership and accountability for their centre. Right. And I think that kind of attitude and culture then does kind of flow through the whole business, so that then when we do want to get behind something as a group, so we absolutely love Green Fingers and really want to support them, that then we do that collectively as a whole and support it. And this year for Garden Relief, we raised over £25,000 for Green Fingers on just one day.
Wonderful,
and that's just because centres get behind it. So definitely.
That's so good to hear. It really is, isn't it? Yep. You both grew up basically surrounded by the garden centre. What are your earliest memories of the business? Did you sort of, when you were growing up, were you actually aware of what was being built around you? Or
I think the first thing that stands out for me is one of my first memories that I can remember from the garden centres is we used to live at Woodthorpe, which was our first site.
Right.
Okay.
And Easter morning, the Easter bunny for us had done the Easter egg hunt around the garden centre. Right. So I think that was that's probably my first memory from that. And then when you go into school and you speak about your Easter egg hunts, and I think that for me is like, oh, my life's a bit different to other people. So I think, but I think we've always recognised it, but not until I grew up, I realised quite the scale of what's been created around me.
Yeah.
Right.
And same?
Yeah, similar, I think. I think we've always been roped in from a young age, so whether that's been pricing Christmas baubles or going round in a van with Dad.
Delivery driving.
Yeah, delivery driving. I think we've been brought up around that environment, and that we are quite a hands-on business. And I think that's definitely carried on through. And I think for us, it kind of was like, it's a small family-run business to start with. And I think the last 5 years, how we've grown, I think it is a pinch yourself moment, because, oh my gosh, like, this is what we are now, and it's quite crazy.
You were talking about growing up in the business. Do you think that possibly the fact that you've had intimate sort of experiences of doing so many different things within the business, you mentioned pricing up baubles, for example, but do you think that's helped you in sort of where you are now? Yeah,
definitely. I think for me, I've been on quite a journey over the last 7-8 years that I've been in the business. And I think being able to kind of work in different departments and do a whole varying level of roles, from just being an assistant on the shop floor to becoming, a centre manager, working on the nursery, a whole host. I think it makes you realise, like, how important everything is, and when you're making a decision, how that can affect so many different people. And I think, there is no better training than being on the ground. And I think we're so lucky that we've got the opportunity of learning all this different stuff just at our fingertips, really.
Right, fantastic. And with regards to the business, you said you got 70, how many?
73.
73 stores. Oh my goodness, that's a lot. Do you find that we've been talking to a few people who've talked about the importance of benchmarking? So for not just store to store, but the departments within the store. Do you find that within your, within British Garden Centres, that actually benchmarking within the group as a whole really helps you sort of identify problems, but also seeing best practice as well, so you can see they're doing really well. Why are they doing quite so well at that?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a big thing that we do, and it's a big thing that's become really valuable to us to help us make decisions, and also understand how we can become a better business. So yeah, we rank all of our centres in many different ways. So sales, wage percentage, gross profit, etc. And then we see and look at the comparisons as to why there's differences. And sometimes it's explainable, and sometimes it's like, oh no, but it definitely makes you think outside the box.
Right. And do you benchmark outside of the group as well?
Yeah, we do. So we look outside, we look at industry figures and see how we're doing compared to that, and try and understand if we're performing better or not as well. Then why is that, and what do we need to do, or what do we need to carry on doing in cases? Yeah,
brilliant.
And do you drive around a lot? Are you very hands-on? Do both of you go and visit? So where's your what's your region? How far have you got to travel?
So our furthest centre north is Highlegate, and our furthest centre south is Wimborne. So so it is huge variation. Yeah. So I probably spend about 2 days a week on the road, visiting, and then 3 days in the main head office. And you're probably similar, aren't you?
Yeah, similar. Probably a bit more at the minute on the road, getting everybody ready for Christmas.
Cool.
But no, it's a big part. I think it's important for us to see it hands-on, because otherwise you don't understand people's real life problems. It's all just over an email, and people really value seeing and speaking to you in person.
And regions are very different, aren't they, as well? Customer bases are totally different.
Definitely.
Well. And for those of us that are involved in the industry, it is a different industry than most, isn't it? Are there any customer moments or kind of centre quirks that would really stick out for both of you?
Oh, customer moment. There's quite a few. There's some funny ones, and then there's some really lovely ones. And I'll always remember the time where a customer had pulled me to one side on one of our centre openings this year, and just wanted to basically congratulate how they're so relieved that the centre's been taken over by British Garden Centres, and it looks amazing, and the team's great, and it was just such a lovely, wholesome compliment that I think that stuck with me quite a lot, because it was a busy time for us trying to take them on, and we wanted to do it well. We wanted the team to flourish, becoming part of us, and we wanted our customers to love that we'd taken over. And I think that was a moment where, I think we've ticked that box. So.
And what about you? Is that anything?
Oh, I don't know. There is so many. I don't know. Some of our centres have some crazy quirks as well. One of them has a train. One of them has a big animatronic guy that we call Mossy. Okay. And it's just things like that then people in the garden centres and people in the communities, they just keep on coming back because they love to see this stuff. So I think there's all just little bits like that.
So with all your travelling, you must eat all the different garden centres. So then, what's your go-to thing that you would have if you're having to have lunch on the road?
This is probably a bit of an embarrassing one, but mine is the chicken bites.
Yeah?
I love the chicken bites.
Good.
I think we've grown up with the chicken bites, and it's one thing that we always say to our restaurant director: you can never take the chicken bites off the menu. I wouldn't eat.
And I really enjoy the carvery, to be honest. I think that's it's good.
So although each centre keeps its own individuality when it comes to food, do they all have to kind of have the similar
So they have,
menu?
Yeah, they have consistency. So the core menu is the
Chicken
same.
bites.
Yeah, it's chicken bites. But then some centres will have carveries, some centres won't, and then centres get to choose their own specials as well all the time. So that's what keeps that uniqueness there.
We were talking to a guest just before you who supplies is food procurement, and one of the things he thought he would like to see is potential for evening openings using the restaurants and having kind of workshops and wine tasting and cheese tasting. Is that something you think you could potentially kind of to get people coming to the garden centre and seeing them in different ways, or are you quite happy with 9 to 5?
I think it's a good balance, and I think we're keen to explore opportunities like that with holding different types of events to bring different types of people in and giving them a different reason to visit.
We are looking at doing a lot of different events this year. It's sort of something I've taken under my arm to expand that through some of our acquisitions. We've noticed that they maybe don't operate quite how all other centres operate. And it's just gaining an understanding of how we can get more people in, whether they're in an area that doesn't have as much green space. So we're looking at doing more events so that people are still drawn to the garden centre. We're showing people that garden centres aren't just for people with a green finger. It's a day out. It's a place to go, place to make memories.
Absolute destination. And where you can have experiences.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So no, and I think then also it's then just weighing up the cost of staying open. Is it worth it? And it's just looking at the numbers really.
Yeah. So what are you most excited about for British garden centres over the next couple of years?
I think I'm really looking forward to kind of working with the team and our people to carry on building this fantastic business. I think we are looking to grow, and that's probably in ways where we're investing in our existing sites, but also potentially looking for new opportunities. But there's just never a dull day, and I think there's always new ideas, and it's just so exciting that I think where we'll get to in 2 years will be, a business that's just, really evolved again.
You two are pretty important visitors to Glee. There's a lot of suppliers out here. What can a supplier do at Glee this week that's going to really impress you, make you stop? What are you looking for from suppliers here?
I think a point of difference. I think, we work with a huge range of suppliers and, they work so well with us, and we're really grateful for the relationships we have. And I think what we've already seen quite a bit of is just something new, some point of difference, something that is going to help us educate our customers as well. Not all our customers are expert gardeners anymore. And I think, what suppliers can do to support us with that, I think is really key.
Well, I think that's a great way to end it. So thank you, Amy. Thank you, Libby. Really appreciate you coming in and telling us more about what's going on at British Garden Centre. It's been fantastic.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So I am here in the Juma village, and I'm joined by David Holmes, who's the owner of Sussex Seed Balls. So how are you finding Glee this year?
It's been brilliant. My first ever Glee as an attendee or a visitor.
Oh, really?
And so, yes, it's quite a bit bigger than anything I've done before. And lots of great leads so far, and met some really good stall holders as well.
So tell us a little bit. I mean, obviously it kind of says on what your Sussex Seed Balls, but so tell us a little bit about the seed balls, and obviously you do other products.
Yeah, so we make small batch seed balls for growing wildflowers. We saw a gap in the market because we focus on seed balls that are chosen for specific soils. So if you've got the chalk soil or you've got the clay soil, you want seed balls that are going to match that to grow at their best.
I love that because, we forget about that. We get wildflower seeds, but actually if you've got a really heavy wet soil, they're not going to do so well.
Yes.
Okay. And how long have you been operating?
Well, I started out with a business called Ashes to Blooms because I found a gap in the market making seed balls with ashes. So that spread, we're now in 300 funeral directors with that.
I see. Right, I'm with you now.
Yes, so if people suffered a loss, they send us the ashes.
Right.
And then I saw, I wanted to try the gifting market. Right. And so this is my foray into gifting.
So what's brought you to Glee?
Well, I just heard great things about it, and we've got some new beautifully designed products, and I just felt we got the range that was sort of ripe to go into chains and larger stores.
And how's it gone for you so far?
Great. Well, the proof will be afterwards when I get those gigantic £1 million orders in, but some really good contacts, and had a great GEMA meeting yesterday. So hoping to get into one of the big chains very soon.
So how long have you been a member of GEMA?
Just under a year, so I'm a total newbie. This is my first big GEMA event.
Oh, wonderful. Well, look, good luck with the rest of the show and good luck with everything else.
Thank you.
We're here with an actual Reverend Dave Walker from Birley Moor Garden Centres. Hi there, Dave.
Hi, Phil. Thank you for having me on the show.
Hello, Rev Dave.
Yes.
So, Dave, perhaps we could start by asking you to just rewind a little bit back to March 2024.
Okay.
What on earth made you decide to buy a garden centre?
Very good question to ask. Well, being a reverend in Church of England, my stock answer on that is God only knows. But yeah, the background of it is that Birley Moor Garden Centre is in Sheffield, and I've grown up in Sheffield from birth. When I was around about 5-6 years old, I used to go to the garden centre with my dad, and it was a fantastic day out. In the early 70s, before the garden centre, it was a coal mine, and it was our playground, because we didn't have any playgrounds. Well, the council actually introduced a playground, but it was safer to play on the coal mine than it were on the playground.
Well, that's not saying much.
Absolutely. So yeah, from coal mining early 70s, it became a garden centre around about 78.
Okay.
And I loved that time going into the garden centre with my dad, and it just the memories are great. No PlayStations or anything like that, But going over there, it was just a great experience. And there were nothing else, There were no cafes or anything like that. It was a proper garden centre. We went to pick the tomato plants up on the canes for the beans and stuff like that. And it went, Dave, do you want to come? Yes, I'll come, Dad. And so there is a nostalgia element in there, some historical reasons of buying it. But it came up for sale around about 2023. And I thought, and it has been struggling, I just couldn't let this place just go to rack and ruin.
Right.
Yeah. Now, the accountant said, are you sure? But, anyway, I hope that answers your question.
So you've described it as a somewhat wild idea.
Yeah.
What were those first few weeks really like?
Oh, well, March 2024, and if you can cast your mind back to there, wettest one of the wettest springs, followed by a dismal summer. What a time to buy a garden centre. Yeah, I recall looking up to the sky and saying, God, are you
trying to tell me something?
Yeah, what's going on here? That first year was very challenging, very difficult. But it was, I like that as well, because I prefer the warts and all at the beginning.
Right.
I'd prefer it like going in first year and, this is brilliant, everything's doing as it should. But no, it was total opposite.
In at the deep end.
In at the deep end is a great metaphor on that.
Yeah, you've taken a very different approach to reviving the centre. Yeah. You've got Grandpa Joe's street food, to forest schools and wellbeing classes.
Amazing.
Is there a big idea that's sort of behind all of this you're doing?
There is. So going back to the accountants, when they said, look, this is going to be challenging, trying to make money out of a garden centre. We've got to do something different. Now, the whole thing about footfall, it's about increasing footfall.
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's community engagement. And being a part of the church, that's what I'm about. So when I speak with Bishop and Bishop's advisors, they say, well, what are we going to do about community? And so actually buying the garden centre and doing what we're doing there, Grandpa Joe's, we've got Hawkston lagers on tap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good old Jeremy Clarkson.
I think we need to go up, Phil.
I tell you what, I am the Jeremy Clarkson of garden centres. I'm sure we'll come on to planning and things like that.
Or maybe we should do a TV show.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Great idea. But so that was it. It's about community engagement. So, bringing in the forest school. We've got an education arm as well, separate
Right.
to Forest School, doing horticultural, land-based management.
Oh, I love that.
And so on.
Yeah, I'm a forest school practitioner. Well, I'm certified. I haven't done it for a while, but yes,
Yeah.
brilliant. It's
Yeah.
just kids love it.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got kids coming in now, and one of the big challenges is it's having the space as well for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very oversubscribed already.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is your vision about returning to a more old school purpose or creating something completely new?
It's a mix. So as we started out, I explained about growing up at 5-6
Yeah.
years old. That was brilliant. No technology, no gadgets. Yeah, just traditional garden centre stuff.
Yeah.
So let's bring that. Now, I'm not naive enough to know that we've also got to move with the times.
Yeah.
So let's let's get that technology coming in, but I don't want it to become some theme park. I
Right.
want it to become a destination of people coming
Right.
and actually meeting people.
Yeah.
Today we had Help for Heroes descend on Grandpa Joe's and things like that. So they're coming together. So it's that community engagement.
So would you say you're more into, it's more about the community engagement, or is it more about building the garden centre back up to its, say, former glory, but even more so?
Yeah. And again, they both work in parallel. don't they?
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
we've got to build a garden centre up. It's got to get to a certain mass so it can actually pay its bills, and,
Yeah.
and we're not strapped with cash flow and stuff like that, which is
Yeah.
what a lot. And Birley Moor Garden Centre, it's still got a cash flow issue, what we have to balance and make sure we get that right. So yes, we've got to grow it. There's no two ways about it. But to actually support that, it is that community engagement, and that's what I'm all about.
But that's a win-win, isn't it? It's a
It is.
win-win for the business. It's a win-win for the community.
It is, yeah. And when people come up to me and say thank you, that's like, I cry. But it brings tears to my
I
eyes.
bet. No, absolutely.
Honestly, does it? It
Well,
brings
you've got
tears
that
to my
emotional
eyes.
connection, haven't you, as
Yeah.
well, from being a youngster going there?
I do, yes.
So, that's lovely. Thank you.
Yeah. We were talking to somebody yesterday morning, Paul Playdell from Playdell Smithy Man. And they're a consultant really around garden centres and trying to encourage or help garden centres to maximise their footfall and profit and what have you. And he basically said it comes down to three things, and that's experience.
Yeah.
And so I think you're onto something in what you're trying to do.
Good, and thanks for the reassurance.
Yes. And he also talked a lot about community,
Yeah.
about bringing the community together, didn't he?
He did. He really did. So what have customers and locals made of it all so far?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm pleased to say one of the things what really satisfies me might sound odd, but I go in and walk around the garden centre. Sometimes I'm wearing the dog collar, sometimes I'm not. People actually come up to me and shake my hand and actually thank me. They say, thank you, Dave, for doing what you're doing here. It's great. We haven't had this for a long time. It needed bringing forward. So it's that's really, but it goes to my heart. I think it's fantastic that people do that.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate that I get that feedback.
Yeah. And people are coming. Are you finding?
The footfall's increasing.
That's
Footfall's increasing. That's good.
So that's the positive. Let's just have a little chat about some of the challenges you've been through. And, you've been in the trenches with planning officers and greenbelt policy. So how tough has that side of it all been?
Extremely tough. And it still is. It's still ongoing. So we've got a bungalow on site, residential bungalow, and we're looking at change of use of the bungalow into the café.
Okay, yep.
We've got Grandpa Joe's as the outlet, but we need a cafe stroke.
So was there no cafe before?
No.
Okay.
No. The previous owners, it was their residential.
Okay. Yeah.
I did speak to them before actually putting in planning to say, I'm going to turn your home into a cafe. They were over the moon. They loved the idea. But for 15 months, we've been in planning process for 15 months. We're in a sliver of greenbelt.
Right.
To the left of us is a small industrial area, not
Right.
greenbelt. To the right of us there's a fire station, not greenbelt.
No.
But it just so happens that we're in a greenbelt.
Right.
What I said used to be a coal mine.
Yes, of course. Oh my goodness. Right.
So fingers crossed, our planning consultants and all the other consultants who've been working on this project are reassuring me that after 15 months now, the actual final plans went in 13 weeks ago.
Right.
And so we're right at that last level now. So I'd like to think I'll drop you an email next week and say, hey, we've finally got the planning through.
So will that be the end of Grandpa Joe, or will you keep that going?
Well, interesting, because the first reiteration, the council suggested that we had to sort of close that area down.
Right.
Because one of the things in planning and greenbelt is if you've got 2 cafes on site, it's classed as being greedy.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
which I found very bizarre and bonkers. So anyway, we pushed back, and the reason why we pushed back is because the customers love Grandpa Joe's. So,
Right.
so Grandpa Joe's, I'm pleased to say, is in the plans,
Right.
and it will continue to go and grow as it is.
Can you describe that to us? In fact, can you just describe some of the garden centre to us, just so we can paint a bit
Paint
of a
a picture.
picture?
All right, yeah, let's try that. So we've got the standard greenhouse. So the standard greenhouse is, as you'd expect, is the garden centre. Just behind the greenhouse is the outside plant areas. To the left of the greenhouse and attached is the aquatics. So we've got an
okay.
aquatics
Right.
outlet as well. And then up behind the outside plant area is where the bungalow is.
Right.
And that's sat in 1 acre of land. the
Okay,
bungalow.
so it's not small then.
Oh, it's
Oh,
not.
wow.
We've got 7.5
An acre.
acres altogether.
Right.
Oh gosh, that's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, so it's a nice site. We got 3.5 acres, which the garden centre sits in.
Right.
Like I say, 1 acre of that is the bungalow and that garden, if you that
Yeah.
land, and that's where the forest school is.
Right.
And then it's got a forest, a woodland,
That's great.
sort of enclosing it. And then to the right, we've got scrubland, 3.5 acres of scrubland, which the ecologists class as rank. I never even knew that were a term, but it is. Now, the good thing about that it's rank is we're looking at biodiversity net gain.
Right.
So we're turning that into a nature reserve.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll be putting a wetland in there. Adjacent to that is the Birley Golf Course,
Oh,
which
right.
floods at the wet times of the year.
Right.
So if we take all that water in from there, bring it into the wetland,
Stop
we
it
can
flooding.
stop that from flooding. We increase the biodiversity
Yeah.
of the site. Yeah, so that's sort of it. There's a lot going on there.
It's amazing.
Yeah. But obviously, with your previous hat on, that's sort of an area which you know quite well.
You're absolutely right.
So just tell us a little bit, because this was from a chat before we started recording.
yes,
So
yeah.
just tell us a little bit about your background there.
So my background, I've been in the water industry for quite a number of years. Probably started out about 89, and I've had a number of companies in the water industry, what I bought and sold, and my initial training was electronics engineer.
Oh, right.
So in 2008, I was on a plane into Australia. I was buying a product in from Australia and bringing it into the UK. And exchange rate were great, so I was doing very well. But it needed a particular certification. So the guys in Australia said, come over and see us and we'll get this sorted. I landed in Australia on the Sunday. On the Monday, went in the meeting and they said to me, we can't do this. I thought, I've just flown all the way around. And this is before I became a priest in the Church of England.
Right.
So I'm now leaving because I was only there 3 days.
Right.
I'd got a job in Scotland to get to on Wednesday. And I don't recommend that. I'm not bragging. you don't go to Australia for 3 days. It's madness.
No.
But I then, I was flying into Heathrow above the clouds, and I thought, well, like I say, I weren't a priest or anything like that, but I thought, if there is a God, I must be very close to him now because I'm above the clouds. So I looked out of the window on the plane and said, God, you better give me some inspiration because I've had enough. And I'd lost a big contract as well
Right.
because of this.
Yeah.
So I was very down and fed up. But then when I landed, I thought, well, actually, why don't I make my own instrument, my own flow monitor? And so I did. We set up a company. There was 5 of us to start. The company now, I think we've got 180 people employed.
Wow.
Goodness.
Yeah. And yeah, they're exhibiting actually next door
Right.
at the environment conference, and I'm in there tomorrow doing a talk on nature-based solutions and so on. So yes, that's my background of what I had before.
You've got a good business head on you.
I'd like to think so, yes, and I've been able to bring that into the garden centre. Yeah.
Right. So Birley Moor was on the brink back in 2023. And now you've seen a 43% rise in turnover with the café not even open yet. Yeah. So what do you put that down to?
Okay. Well, first of all, we've got to remember that we've had a good spring and a good summer. Yep. So some of that is down to the climate. But good 25-30% of that is actually down to the increase in footfall, getting some new products in, tidying everything up. And don't get me wrong, we've spent a lot of money into the infrastructure of the building, put a new roof on it straight away.
Oh gosh, right. That's a big one,
That's not cheap.
That's not cheap. So yes, getting new products in. We've got, we never had a gift section, so we've got a great range of gifts now. And so that's what's happening.
Have you or your son got a background in retail at all?
No. No, we haven't.
So this is some learning curve that you're on.
It is. One of the things I am blessed with is I do speak to some of the local garden centres. I made friends with them.
Right.
Yeah, and said, how do I do this?
Help.
Yeah, help. That's it, yeah. So,
and you funded this with your own savings.
I have, yeah.
So there's obviously negative and positives, but have you found that this has given you freedom to kind of take more risks?
Well, obviously, yes, because I'm not having to battle with the banks.
Right.
But, banks are good in a respect because they give you you've got to put a business case forward. Yeah, you've got to demonstrate that you're going to be able to return the money.
Yeah.
So that is good. Yes, fortunately, I'd got the money to actually invest in the infrastructure. Now, as much as I say that, I may have free rein, well, I haven't because I've got my wife. I've got no, it's not my son. It's my wife. She's got this knack of saying, do we really need to do that at the moment? What's the cash flow like? How's that going to look? How's that going to...
Sensible woman.
Yeah, so she's great at just reining us back in.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's how it works. But yes, I've been very fortunate that we haven't had to bring in any the finance from banks investors at this moment in time.
Have you looked at the Garden Centre Association at all? I mean, I don't...
No, but I know you'd mentioned that to me. And so, again, my ignorance, I've only been here a year.
Yes, that's
but
true.
I think, and I think you mentioned that you might be able to give me an introduction.
I can definitely to Peter Burks. He's actually coming on the podcast tomorrow.
Oh, brilliant.
And we spoke to him only a few minutes ago, didn't we? So,
he's a great guy.
I can definitely give you an introduction there.
I'd really welcome that. Thank you very much, Phil.
Yeah, so you've said that you want to tell this story to support other small independents. What's the message that you most want to share, do you think?
Okay, so I think we've got to be realistic about this. For independent garden centres, it's tough. Yeah, and even now, because we seem to be in a financial climate at the moment where the spending's dropping, so the economy, so that's hard. It's hitting us, and I look at now other retailers. Even some of the top retailers, if I can mention Marks and Spencers and stuff like that, I look at them very closely. So they're going, and people are sort of thinking twice about spending. So my message to independents is hold in there. Batten down the hatches, try and get that stock levels right, because that's one of the things what we seem it's trying to get it right. And it's like, how much stock do you carry? How much stock do you don't? You've got to carry the stock, or you've just got an empty shop window, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you need to find suppliers who are prepared to help you and do deals and that sort of thing.
That's one of the things I want, and that's why I've been here today. I've been talking to the suppliers saying, how can you help us? How can you help us with extended credit terms? How can you help us with just point of sale? That type of stuff. And the marketing and things like that. So.
So I know it's only been just over a year, but what is next for Birley Moor? I mean, have you been looking at the food supplies here at Glee with the eye for opening your own cafe?
Absolutely. So I've got the team down here today, and they're all walking around. So my wife Andrea and Mel, who's the Chief Operating Officer.
Right.
It was the best title we could really think of. 'Cause she's in charge. So and the director of the garden centre now. They're all walking around and looking at these, at the food outlets and what we can bring in. Yeah.
So what's your son's title?
William is a director as I am,
okay.
but just as an investor. Yeah.
Right.
Owner. So we're both down
co-owners.
as co-owners, that's right.
Okay.
So how hands-on are you and your son?
Well, actually, William now works there.
Right.
Yeah, and so he's very much hands-on.
Right.
I'm there with the community engagement,
Right.
so I just go in and meet people and talk about plants and compost. I'm learning a lot about peat-free compost and stuff like that.
Talk to me.
Yeah. Kate is the compost queen.
Yeah, and be careful of all that potassium.
Oh, yes. We've just been talking about that.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at, yeah. There's one thing I wanted to mention, I forgot to mention it earlier on. When I took over the garden centre, we got 4 people employed. We've now got 28
Oh, goodness.
in the year.
That's
My word.
amazing.
Yeah, so yeah.
And do you attribute that to the fact that you've just got these grand plans, and the footfall's increasing, or
It is. It's again both of that. It's footfall's increasing. We have got the grand plans. Yeah, but we're not going to be your Blue Diamonds, and we don't ever want to be.
No.
But I do respect that.
Yeah.
Blue Diamond. Now Alan Roper's taken that from 7 million to where he's at.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm ever going to do that with Birley Moor Garden Centre, but the model is like, wow, well done, Alan.
Yeah.
know your customer. That's his big
That's
thing.
his big
Know
thing,
your
isn't it?
know
Know
your
your
customer.
customer. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's very important because we see that because of different price breaks, because some things, it's like, oh, it's going to be X pounds, and it's like, our customers aren't going to pay for that or whatever. So, it's knowing the customer.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Reverend Dave, I just want to say thank you so much for coming in and talking to us
Absolutely.
and giving us more of an insight into the Birley Moor story that you've been sharing with us. It's been fantastic.
And just loads of luck for the future.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Wish
Thank
you
you,
all the
Phil.
best.
Thank you, Kate. And thank you for inviting me on.
Please do subscribe, like, and review us on your podcast platform of choice. It only takes a moment, and it helps us to make this podcast possible. If you found the episode useful, do spread the word and share it with your colleagues. Signing up to our mailing list at theunderground.fm will mean that you'll receive insights and news all about new episodes straight to your inbox. The Underground podcast is produced by Right O'Bara, a creative marketing agency for home and garden brands. The production at Glee doesn't happen without a team of people behind it. So my thanks goes to Matt Meehan and Katerina Albanese from the Glee team for their help and assistance. Technical production was by Paul Withers, and their production assistant was Josh Wright. On-site videography was by Ben Holmes, and graphic design and marketing support was by Claire Appleby. The podcast booth was constructed with the support of Toby Noyce of Extreme Graphics. And of course, my thanks goes to my brilliant co-host, Kate Turner, the Gardener Guru. Thanks for listening.